Welcome back to Champions League predictions, guys. It's the third week of the new Champions League phase, and we have got some more big games to predict today. As ever, make sure to share your predictions down in the comments. Use the fixtures from the description, copy and paste, and get your comments down below. Be sure to show this video some support. Let's go for 2,000 likes before we get into this video. It takes 2 seconds, and your support has been amazing, so please help us hit 2,000 likes. Make sure as well to subscribe if you haven't already. Get involved. We are pushing to 80,000 subscribers, and as you can see, we are really close. So make sure you've liked and subscribed. As I just said, make sure to share your predictions down in the comments. Let's have some fun. It's okay to disagree, but don't start being unreasonable. I mean, last time I got this comment saying they've just turned off the video after I predicted PSV 1, Sporting Lisbon 1. And guess what the score was? 1-1. Joke's on you. What a moron. Right then, now that's out the way, let's get into the predictions for this time. And we start with AC Milan versus Club Brugge. Now, AC Milan are 32nd in the Champions League table after losing both of their games so far. It's been a poor start for them. They take on Club Brugge, who are 21st in this table, and it's an interesting matchup. They both really need to win to get back on track in this league phase, but I do have a strong favourite here, and that is the home team, AC Milan. I think this is their nicest fixture so far, and as we've highlighted before, they have got Pulisic, they have got Morata, they have got Tammy Abraham as well, so there's a lot of quality there to be admired. Club Brugge have Nilsson, Olsen and Solis, so they carry a threat. I think they might score, but I'm going to go heavy here for the home team. I'm going to go AC Milan 3, Club Brugge 1 as my first prediction. Share your thoughts on that one, guys, but I do think AC Milan will get their first Champions League win of the season here. Next up, let's go to Monaco versus Red Star Belgrade. Now, Red Star Belgrade are currently 33rd. They've had a really poor start to the Champions League. They need to get a result, but I'm not sure if I can see it coming away at Monaco. Monaco currently 14th. They've picked up some decent results. We've mentioned the players they've got, like Kamara, Balogun as well. On the other hand, Red Star Belgrade do have Bruno Duarte. They've got Milson as well. They have got a couple of decent players, but once again, I'm going to go for a home win here. I really fancy Monaco, and I do think they will get through to the knockout stages. I'm going to predict Monaco 2, Red Star Belgrade 0. I feel fairly confident that the home team should win this game. Red Star Belgrade have not been great so far, so I think Monaco will take advantage. Next up, we have Arsenal versus Shakhtar Donetsk. Now, Arsenal are currently 13th. They drew their opening game 0-0. Raya obviously saved a penalty, and then they did win last time 2-0 against PSG, and we've highlighted that they've had a good start, and it's definitely possible that they could win the Premier League or the Champions League this season. They've got the quality to do it, and I think they should get the win here against Shakhtar Donetsk, who are 27th. Now, as for Shakhtar, they've definitely got players that can hurt a team with Zubkov and Sudikov as well, but Arsenal are just going to be too strong in my opinion, and I would be surprised if Arsenal don't win this. I'm going to go 2-0 again, as we've highlighted before. Havertz, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, and at the back they've got Gabriel, Saliba, they've got David Raya. I really like this Arsenal team, and as I say, it should be straightforward here. It could be more than 2-0, it could be 3, but I'm going to go for 2-0. Share your thoughts on Arsenal versus Shakhtar Donetsk. On to the next game, and let's stay in England as it's Aston Villa versus Bologna. Now, Aston Villa have had an incredible start to the Champions League. Of course, they won 3-0 away at Young Boys, but the best test they've had, of course, was Bayern Munich at home. And I did say that I think Aston Villa will get something from that game, but I didn't predict a win. I said a draw, so full credit to Aston Villa for grinding out that 1-0 win. It was a good goal from Duran, and he really is a key player for Aston Villa coming on off the bench. Of course, Aston Villa also have the likes of Watkins. Onana's been chipping in with goals this season as well, and I would be surprised if Aston Villa don't win this game. I genuinely think Aston Villa have a chance of going really far in the Champions League. I fully expect them to get through this league phase. They take on Bologna, who've got Castro, they've got Orsolini. They're okay. They currently sit 26th in this league, and they've got the potential to get to the knockout stages, but I'm not sure if they're going to get anything at Aston Villa. Aston Villa, as we've said, they've got lots of quality. They've got the manager that's proven in European competitions, and they've had a great start in the Premier League and in the Champions League. I'm going to go for some goals here. Aston Villa 3, Bologna 1. I do think Aston Villa will get the job done, and Villa fans, answer this question: how far do you think you will get in the Champions League this season? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If I had to guess, I'm probably leaning towards quarter-finals, but I would not be surprised if they get to the semis. The next game is Girona versus Slovan Bratislava, and this feels like a really big game because they're both quite low down in the Champions League league table. They both need a win, and it's a suitable game for them to do it. Girona, of course, they've lost their first 2 games. They have the home advantage over Slovan Bratislava, who've lost their 2 games so far, but they've lost really heavily in those 2 games. I think Girona might win this. I just think there's a bit more quality in the home team, and they have the home advantage. They've got Asprilla, they've got Stuani, they've got Danjuma. Slovan Bratislava have some danger men. Barcelona is certainly a player who can score goals. I'm going to predict Girona 1, Slovan Bratislava 0. It could be a low scoring game, but this one I do think the home team will win. Girona to win. Share your thoughts down below. The next game is Juventus versus Stuttgart. Now, Juventus have had a good start. They are 7th in the table after winning 2 games out of 2. Stuttgart, they're 25th, and I did have quite a few Stuttgart fans telling me off for not predicting them to win against Sparta Prague last time. Well, guess what? They didn't win. It was a 1-1 draw. I think Juventus are going to be slight favourites here. Stuttgart definitely have quality, and they've scored quite a few goals in the Bundesliga this season so far. They've got Undav, they've got Demirovic, but Juventus, of course, have Vlahovic, they've got Thuram, Douglas Luiz as well. I just think there's more quality in the home team. So I'm going to go for another home win. Juventus 2, Stuttgart 1. I just think Juventus will win, and they could be a dark horse in the competition this year to maybe get to the quarters or semi-finals. The next game is PSG versus PSV. PSV are flying in the Eredivisie division, but currently 24th in the Champions League table. PSG, of course, they're doing well in Ligue 1, as you'd predict them to do, but can they prove themselves in the Champions League? They're currently 19th, and they really do need to win this game if they want to be one of the favourites to go on and do well in this competition. Of course, PSG, we've highlighted Bradley Barcola, they've got Dembele as well. PSV have Tillman, they have De Jong. I'm thinking another home win, and I'm thinking a close game. I'm going to give PSV a goal, but surely PSG are going to win. PSG 2, PSV 1 is my prediction here. Share your thoughts on that one. I definitely think PSG are my favourites, but sometimes they don't always live up to the expectations in this competition, so it can be difficult to predict them. Next up, let's go to the Bernabeu. It's Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund. Wow, what a game this could be. Real Madrid 17th in the Champions League table, Borussia Dortmund top, and they just beat Celtic 7-1 in their last game. That was a real statement result. I think this is really, really difficult to predict. There's so many good players on the pitch here. With Borussia Dortmund, you've got Chan, you've got Brandt, you've got Adeyemi. There's lots of quality that can score goals. But Real Madrid, of course, have Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bellingham, and surely they are the favourites, but I think Dortmund could get something. It's a really difficult game to predict, and I'm going to sit on the fence. Real Madrid 1, Borussia Dortmund 1. Really, really difficult to predict this one. Share your predictions in the comments for this one, because Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund is a very juicy match. Next up, and we have Sturm Graz versus Sporting Club Portugal. Sturm Graz are a good team. They're currently top of the Austrian league, but Sporting have something about them that makes me think they could get to the knockout stages. Now, as I said last time, I did predict them to draw 1-1, and they did, but I think they're going to get their second win in the competition here. I just think, once again, Gyökeres could be the difference here. Of course, they've also got Trincao. Sturm Graz, of course, have quality. They have Bierith and Jatta. These games can be difficult to predict, but I just think, as I said, Sporting will just get the winner. Sturm Graz 1, Sporting 2 is what I'm going to go for here. I'm just backing the away team to get 7 points from their first 3 games, which would be a great start for Sporting. The next game is Atalanta versus Celtic. Now, as we said a minute ago, Celtic, they did lose 7-1 to Borussia Dortmund. And it was a bit strange, really, because they had won their first game 5-1 against Slovan Bratislava. Yes, Borussia Dortmund are a much better team than Slovan Bratislava, but it really does show the extremes in this competition, that you can win heavy, you can lose heavy, and I think Celtic will get quite a few points in this competition when they're at home, but this one is also away, and Atalanta are decent. They are 11th in the table. They've got Ederson, they've got Pasalic, they've got Zappacosta. Of course, we always highlight with Celtic Kyogo and Maeda, but I just think Atalanta have got enough to win. So I'm going to go for both teams to score again. Atalanta 3, Celtic 1. But once again, as I say to the Celtic fans, when you're at home, I do think you will get points, but this one looks tricky away from home again. The next game is Brest versus Bayer Leverkusen, and this is second in the table versus fourth in the table. This is really, really difficult because they've both had a great start to the competition. That said, I think you've got to make Bayer Leverkusen the favourites in this one, just considering their great start, the longevity now with Xabi Alonso, and the fact that, like I say, they were so good in the Bundesliga last season. They've been really good in the Champions League this season. I don't think it'll be easy. You know, Brest have been good. They've got Kamara, they've got Doumbia, but as we've said with Bayer Leverkusen, they've got Xhaka, they've got Frimpong, they've got Florian Wirtz, of course, as well. I keep backing both teams to score in the predictions today, so let's change it. Brest 0, Bayer Leverkusen 2. Once again, I've been impressed by both teams, but I just think Bayer Leverkusen might have a bit too much for them. The next game is Atletico Madrid versus Lille. Now, Atletico Madrid have been a little bit strange. They're 23rd in the table. They did lose 4-0 to Benfica last time. Really strange result. I mean, fair play to Benfica. They now take on Lille, who are 18th in the table, and it's a difficult one to predict. I think Lille have been quite good. They've got Gomez, they've got David, of course, but surely Atletico Madrid need to win their next game. They need a reaction after last time, and looking at that front line with Alvarez, Griezmann, and they've all got Gallagher in midfield, I think they've got the quality to win this game. I'm going to go Atletico Madrid 2-1. I think they're just going to beat Lille. I think the home advantage could be crucial here, and they need to get a win after that embarrassing result last time. The next game is Barcelona versus Bayern Munich. Wow. What a big game. Barcelona, of course, flying in La Liga. They're such a powerful team. Bayern Munich doing very well in the Bundesliga. And it's like two titans clashing here. But who's going to win? Or will it be another draw? I mean, we've got Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund in the other game. So it really does feel like we've got the Spanish heavyweights taking on the German heavyweights in the Champions League this round. Now, Barcelona, of course, with Yamal, Rafinha and Lewandowski, I think they're going to score. But Bayern Munich have Kane, Gnabry, Musiala, Elise. I think they're going to score, so let's go for some fun. I'm going to go Barcelona 2, Bayern Munich 2. Yep, I'm going for a Desmond. Really difficult game to predict this, both flying. I don't really want to back either of these teams to lose, and considering they're both in mid-table in this Champions League, they both won't want to lose. They could both do with a win, but I'm going to go for a draw. Share your thoughts on that game. Very tough to predict. The next game is Benfica versus Feyenoord. Now, as we've just said with Benfica, what a win against Atletico Madrid. 4-0. That's a brilliant start now. They're currently third in the Champions League table, and they will fancy their chances of beating Feyenoord, who are currently 22nd. Now, Feyenoord, of course, one of the stronger Dutch teams. They've got Osman, they've got Timber, but Benfica, of course, with Pavlidis and Di Maria and plenty of attacking options, I just think they're going to have too much here. I'm really tempted to go in hard, but I will be respectful to Feyenoord and just say 3-1 to Benfica. I think Benfica have got to be strong favourites. I mean, what a start they've had to the Champions League. You've got to ask yourself, with the start they've had, could they actually go quite far in the competition? Because the quarterfinals definitely looks likely for Benfica, considering how good they've been. Next up, we are back in England as Manchester City take on Sparta Prague. Now, Sparta Prague are currently 10th. They've had a decent start. Manchester City are 8th. They drew 0-0 at home to Inter Milan. And then in the last game, they just went away to Slovan Bratislava and won 4-0, which I predicted. I said 4-0. I also think Man City will win this game. They've got to build on that last result in the Champions League. Now, I know they're missing Rodri, but come on. They've still got Haaland. They've still got De Bruyne. They've got Kyle Walker. They've got Foden. They've got too much quality here, surely. So, should we go 3-0? No, I'm going to predict 2-0. I think Manchester City will win, but surely Sparta Prague will come here knowing that they have to defend for their lives to try and have any chance of being in this game. But ultimately, Man City's quality will be too much. So Man City 2, Sparta Prague 0 is my prediction. Do share your thoughts on that one. Next up, we have the final English team, which is Liverpool. They take on RB Leipzig away from home. And can we now call this game a Jurgen Klopp derby because of his move over to Red Bull recently? Quite interesting. I think Liverpool have got to win this. They're currently 5th. They've had a great start in the Champions League, and I'm going to back them again. Maybe RB Leipzig will score. They've got Sesko, they've got Openda, but Liverpool, of course, with McAllister, Salah, Nunes, Diaz, I think they're going to win. So let's go RB Leipzig 1, Liverpool 3. I trust Liverpool quite a lot in these European competitions. As we've said before, they are the most successful English club when it comes to the Champions League. So, yep, I'm going to back them again, 3-1. Okay, then, we have 2 games left, and next up, it's RB Salzburg versus Dynamo Zagreb, and they both have had a slow start to the Champions League. RB Salzburg 34th, Dynamo Zagreb 28th. Now, I think looking at the odds, Dynamo Zagreb are slight favourites, but they are away from home. And I'm thinking of maybe going for a draw here. RB Salzburg have got to get something. They have got Konate, they have got Bidstrup. Dynamo Zagreb have Petkovic, who's worth keeping an eye on. I'm going to go for another draw. 1-1. Really difficult to predict, but that said, I don't think a draw would be great for either of these teams. They both need to win this game, which I definitely think is possible for either team because, like I say, in this competition you don't get too many easy games, and this one on paper certainly does look winnable for either team, but I'm going to go for a draw. And then finally, the last game is Young Boys versus Inter Milan, and Young Boys are bottom of the Champions League table, 36th in the table, which is absolutely dreadful. They need to get a result to keep themselves going. Otherwise, we could get to the final game of the league phase and Young Boys have got nothing to play for. So they take on Inter Milan. Inter Milan have impressed me. They won their last game, and before that, of course, they drew 0-0 with Manchester City, which was also impressive. They've got Taremi, Arnautovic, Mkhitaryan, and it's just too much quality for Young Boys, who do have Iten and Janvula, of course, but I just think Young Boys are no match for Inter Milan here. So let's predict Young Boys 0, Inter Milan 3. That's what I'm going to go for here. I just think Young Boys have not been very impressive, and Inter Milan have too much quality. So then guys, that does wrap up the Champions League predictions for week 3. I can't believe it. We've done 3 weeks of predictions for this competition, and once again, your support has been amazing. Please make sure that you've hit the like button. Let me know your predictions down in the comments as well. Make sure you have subscribed to help this channel get to 80,000 subscribers. Once again, a massive thank you for your support, and I will see you next time we do Champions League predictions in 2 weeks. I'll see you then. Take care. Peace out.